soul, soul to soul, soul to soul, soul to soul, soul to soul.
Hello and welcome to the Soul to Soul talk show. Today we have a very dear guest with us who is from Germany originally, but how we connected actually is because he was the first Raja Yoga teacher to go to Bosnia. And so when I went over there to start doing some of the courses more regularly and potentially set up a centre, Rainer was someone that I had to obviously connect with and get some of his experiences. So Rainer is also a psychosomatic psychiatric nurse professionally. He's been with the Brahma Kumaris for 15 years, much longer than that. How long are we talking? 32 years. So a very experienced soul, and we're very, very pleased to have him. Welcome. So I'm intrigued to find out what you actually learnt yourself coming to the whole Balkan region after the war. You know, how did you deal with trauma and things like this? Were you aware of it going before? What was your experience with regards to how to approach the people, how to give the souls what they need?
Yes, actually, I remember my first time visiting Sarajevo. I did that with another meditation teacher together, also from Vienna, where I live now, the last 27 years. And actually, for us to have first time really contact with war was a very new experience. No? We went through Grajna, and until then, you know, you have only the experience of in television you see news, and it seems as it's like a film or something. But then when you see the effect in the houses and, you know, coming to Sarajevo, my friend, she's very intuitive, and she felt all this pain having happened in Sarajevo. And so for her it was really a nightmare to visit that first time, but still she had so much mercy and feeling for the people and compassion that still she was very happy that she had that opportunity, that we were there together the first time. And so for me, I really understood that people must be very, very deeply hurt deep within, and I can't believe that these traces can be removed just like that without any problem. No? And I think there is a kind of superficial approach where you can deal with things which are still in your conscious level, but there are things which are probably so strange that you can't handle it. So you let them dive deep into your subconsciousness, and then it's pretty hard to work on them. No?
So can you tell us more about the subconscious? Because as I understand, the subconscious is filled with emotions, feelings that are, sometimes we're not aware how deep they go. So
you see, it's kind of, subconsciousness is that what everything is recording what we are doing, all what we're thinking, all what we are speaking, all what we are acting, everything leaves a little imprint in the subconsciousness. It's like a kind of a bank which records all these things, and the more often you repeat it, the more it becomes habits and up to addictive mechanisms, you know. And especially traumata we can't normally handle very consciously, and so they normally go deep down and reach to a level where we hardly can handle it and even discover them again, you know. But they pop up every now and then, and so traumas is something you have to go through by your emotions again, I believe. Huh? And when you bring them on a conscious level up again, then they disappear. But before, they are like underground boats. Huh?
Yeah, this is actually my experience, you know, coming to Raja Yoga. I thought that I had gotten over the war myself. And more and more fear actually started to come out, because it was like there was this pure energy coming in, and so all of this fear started coming out. And it seems like just when you think it's finished, there's always a bit more that we can do on us. So how do you carry on working on yourself, and how do you keep things fresh and new after being so long on this path? You know, sometimes it can get a bit maybe stagnant for some people. You know, is there anything specific that you do or that you would recommend?
You see, there is the ups and downs in life is a kind of normal things, and especially before I became a meditator, I really had a lot of just instability in my inner state of mind, in my emotions, and but the tendency which I developed was more and more negative habits out of my tendency to see the negative parts of the world, because I felt this world wasn't sort of worth living for me.
Are you saying that you developed a negative vision? Is that one of your negative bad habits? Okay.
Negative attitude. You see, in every situation there are always good and bad aspects, and I developed the habit to see more the bad or negative aspects of situations than the good ones.
Would you call it an addiction that people see the world in this way? Because this was my experience of the world. I found it very negative, and I didn't realize that I could actually change the way I see it, despite how it actually is in reality.
You see, the best way you can see that it is some kind of addictive mechanism is that people are addicted to morning news. And you know, they tried to create a newspaper with positive news. It couldn't develop, and they had to finish it because no one wanted to know. So we developed, meanwhile, a kind of negative addiction of information, you know. It's like a kick we need in the morning. And what I found out about these newspapers is, you know, sometimes you read all of a sudden, oh, there was some problem in any kind of big fabric in China, you know. Normally you're not reading anything about China. But when they don't have enough negative informations from Europe or our areas, then they get and catch up with things which are happening somewhere else in the world which are negative, that they can fill their pages with just negative information, because I believe today's society has become negative addicted.
I found myself, or I realized that I became addicted to sorrow recently. And so is there a quick method to kind of get over this emotion which seems to really drain people of energy ultimately?
You see, the point is that, for example, I myself, I wasn't aware that the way I look at the world and the emotions I experience are interconnected, you know. So I didn't realize that because I choose a negative aspect, I felt negative. And then by repeating the feelings I had, they deepened, you know. So everyone wants to be happy in life, but then we ourselves, through our choice, how we look at the world, we create these negative feelings. And then we end up in a vicious circle where we normally can't escape, because the more we feel bad, the more we think negative, and the more we think negative, the worse we feel, you know.
What would you say to someone that just says, this is the way I am, you know, I can't just change my feelings, you know, like that? You know, a lot of people have this belief, I had this belief that I could not, this is just the way I am.
No, it's true, it's very true, and at that moment they are right, they have developed that habit. The only problem is when you think this is my nature. And normally we consider the things what we do since we are small, that to be our nature, you know. But for this you need spiritual knowledge and a different perspective in order to understand that we are not only that kind of being which my mom knows from that size till today, you know. And that's why, otherwise we could say my mom knows me really, because she knows all what I did and so on. But then you can ask, but who was I, what did I do before I was born, you know? And my mom doesn't know. and she doesn't know what's going to happen afterwards. I have left the body. And so in this way, in spirituality, we believe that we are the energy working through the body, and so we are eternal beings. And so we have a past and we also have a future. And then our present is also very much dominated by our past.
I really relate to what you're saying because, you know, quantum physics seems to be confirming that we are these beings of invisible light. And with that, there's massive consequences which will free us from this fear of death and so forth, because, you know, energy cannot be created or destroyed. And so this truth, once experienced, is very freeing. But before you experience it, it's very difficult to relate to that. So how do we develop this practice and faith to get to that experience?
You see, the first thing is that there is a kind of need that you want to change anything in your life. So no matter how long it takes you to reach to the point of wanting something to change, before nothing can be changed, you know. And it's normally connected. We are normally only ready to want the change when we are unhappy, you know. And there are different reasons why we are unhappy. And the majority of people make themselves unhappy, even they are not aware of. And when this increases, at one point we say, okay, this is now enough. I want a change. And then we open up for new ideas of everything. Before we are quite happy with having our world which works more or less, you know. It's sort of, when I meet people who tell me I'm happy, you know what I tell them normally? I just say, I'm working also in Vienna as a coach, you know. So many people I meet, they say, I don't need coaching, I'm happy. Then I say, yes, I agree. See, do it as long as it works, and if it doesn't work anymore, you have my telephone number, you know. So in this way, it's just, you can, everyone, nobody really tries to be unhappy in life. Huh? There's not a single human being on this planet, I believe, who originally had the aim to be unhappy, you know. But no matter how many methods we try, most of them lead to unhappiness because we are not understand the mental laws. And mental laws you can only understand by spirituality. And it's like, see, that process of spirituality, it doesn't come and you are total spiritual in one day. No, you just get in touch with spirituality and you feel a few things which attract you and you pull your head out of the dirt, you know, or out of the sand. And the secret is, if you put it out of the sand, you pull it out of the sand, you can't put it back again. Huh? You know, so you start your journey in a different direction, and one thing opens the other, and so slowly the interest for spirituality opens up because you get a different attitude and perception of yourself, God, and the world.
How did you come to the Brahma Kumaris? Actually, before that, I would like to know what is spirituality. You know, what is the difference between spirituality and religion? You know. And is there a link? Like, I have this feeling that science and spirituality is all coming together.
In today's world, I think actually science has become our new religion, in fact, I believe. Huh? And it used to be different concept of religion. And in the past, they used to work. And the reason is because all the religions are value-based. And until the people lived with religion certain values, it was working. I give you an example. If on this table there would be 4 people sitting, and one is a practicing Jew, and another is a practicing Buddhist, and another is a practicing Muslim, and the next is a practicing Hindu, then you would see 4 brothers sitting around the table, and you could enjoy, because all are practicing their religion. That means they are all practicing the same values in life, because there is in every religion there is a kind of understanding of peace, of love, happiness, of certain virtues like patience or tolerance. You know, these kind of things are common things in certain religions. They are only appearing in different forms. And when people are practicing their religion, there is closeness and brotherhood feeling, you know. But the problem of today's world is that the only thing which is left in most religions are rituals. And people are not understanding the meaning behind their rituals anymore. And then it ends up in kind of, instead of being a tool for supporting your life, it becomes a dogmatic system. And the result is that then quarrels come up, whose dogma is better, you know. And then an ego game starts from that. And so in this way, I believe spirituality is now a kind of new setting looking at the world, you know. We came to the conclusion the basis of our world is materialism. But as you said, the research in science brought out this is not matter. It's just a kind of, once a physicist told me it's called a dance of energy. You can call it to describe it what it really is, you know. And so we come to understand that matter is not matter, it's energy. And when even matter is energy, then we are even more energetical beings than just normal energy, and even our body is energy. And so then you start to see that the world is based on spirituality, trying to live this spiritual understanding in a world which can be called materialized. Whilst before the people have the idea it's a materialistic world where we have certain beliefs, religious or spiritual or whatever, but the true world is materialism. And more people realize that's an illusion.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you think that this is what's uniting us? Is that we seem to be going back to this notion that actually we're all one world family, we're all brothers and sisters, and it doesn't really matter, you know, where you're from, what country, because ultimately, you know, we've forgotten the essence is that we are beings of peace, love. You were speaking about this illusion. What is this illusion? And I realized that I was living in an illusion, but, you know, what is it and how can people get out of it? You know, because there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of corruption in the world. Mother Nature has, you know, gone crazy in that sense. So,
you know, you mentioned the word brothers and sisters, and majority cannot relate to this term unless you have a spiritual perspective. And actually, the whole game of life gets a total different perspective when you understand the answer on the question of who am I. Because see, people, for example, we say my car. Huh? Nobody says I the car, you know. We have a dog. We say my dog. I never say I the dog, you know. I have a girlfriend, and I never say I'm the girlfriend, you know. But we say this is my body, and the next second we say today I'm pale when I'm looking in my mirror. Huh? So in one way I say I have a body, but the next moment I identify with the body, and then I say that's me, the body. You see, and this confusion creates all, as a result, all problems we have in life, actually. Why? See, it's very simple, because you can say, either I'm a body, then what's the result of that? Everyone is scared of dying. And when I think I'm the body, I think it was 35 years ago, there was a Russian lady who made it into 142 years. But there was never anyone who reached much further than that. So latest at that age, we lose our identity, because we think we are the body, and when we die, most of the people think it's over the game. But when we have that understanding that we are the energy working through the body, you can call it the I, the self, the personality, which doesn't lead to any clear understanding. Only when you call it the spiritual term, the soul, then you understand I am the soul, the energetical being, and I, the soul, do have a body. then it's clear, it's my body. Who says my body? I, the soul. But unless you understand where the soul is situated, you even can't find the proof in your own life.
So what I'm getting is that there's a whole issue with the perception, belief systems, cultural systems that people have grown up with, in a sense. And everyone has these different beliefs. And so do we start from perception? Because I'm seeing from quantum physics, for example, that, you know, what you perceive does become your reality in truth. So how do we begin to change our perception? So there is this, perhaps this realization that we're not this body and that we are the soul, but how do we use that to free ourselves? Because everything that we do, from the moment that we wake up in the morning to the evening, is for the body. You know, we have breakfast, we go to work, we earn money, we, you know, like to look good physically. Where do we begin?
No, you're totally right. This is exactly the problem of today's world, because we have that wrong perception. That's why we are using our time in a way which doesn't uplift the soul, only the body. And after we identify with the body and the role and so on, that works for a certain time, but it doesn't lead into inner fullness. And then we have to pretend to be happy and, you know, all these kind of things for the external world, but deep down we know it's not true. Huh? And then it becomes very difficult to have a facade towards outside, you know, pretending I'm successful, I'm happy, I'm content, and all these kind of things. And we need so much energy to keep this image up for the others that it tires us more, it drains more energy. And finally it leads into really a self-crisis on a long-term run. And exactly that's what I wanted to say. As long as we have the wrong perception, we waste our time, we waste our money, and we waste our energy. And the result is not what we are looking for. And that's why there is a need for spirituality in life, where you, very often you're not doing anything else except with a different attitude.
So, Reinhard, where do we begin? Because what you're saying makes sense, but how is that really going to change people's perceptions, cultural differences, things that people believe to be true? You know, there's a difference between what we believe to be true and what is actually true, and culture plays a big part in that. And what you're saying, it's interesting, but how can it actually free us? Because shouldn't this, you know, it makes sense logically, and it's kind of like, don't we already know this?
No, it's true, you know it, and you are dissatisfied because we can now discuss hours and hours if honey is sweet. Yeah? If, for example, you have eaten honey and I never tried, you know, so I will always say, I doubt that it is sweet, you know, and unless I have a drop on my tongue, I will never know. And so in this way, we are speaking now about the theory, but see, theories normally don't bring change in people's life. Huh? For example, for myself, I got an information, and I tell you, when I came first time to this meditation course, I didn't believe anything. So I took, you know why I took this course? There was only one reason. I wanted to find the mistake. Because at that time, I had the perception that in every system there is a mistake. And so I'm a double Scorpion from star sign. It might tell you something or not, but I'm very good in finding mistakes. So my life until then was that I will find the mistake. And that was for me enough to say, okay, not interesting to continue to deal for me with, you know, because I searched for a system which really works and which fulfills my need to tell me how I can change my life practically, you know. So, but unless you get that information, you can start to experiment. And only through experimentation you can get an experience. And when this information is logical, that your intellect cannot really feel, I'm 100% sure this is stupid. You know, you might be not 100% sure if it's true, but yes, logically it could be, you know. If you are at that point and the next moment you try it out and you experience it, it makes click and you realize it. And that realization is necessary to start practicing, you know. And that happened to me, you know. After 3 days, instead of finding the mistake in the 3 days, which was my aim, I had experiences I could not dream about, you know, on that third day. And that was for me the key point where my whole life changed. In 3 days, my life changed actually from hippie to happy. And that happened in reality 32 years ago. And believe me, if this had not happened in this dramatic form, I wouldn't sit here today.
Thank you very much for joining us today. I think the conversation has been very inspiring. I think we're just getting to the crux. So I look forward to us continuing the conversation in the next episode. Thank you, viewers, for joining us also. And we look forward to another session tomorrow.